We are back. The Love Cape Ann Report. This is the end of October, November edition, and happens to be Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Yes,
Halloween.
indeed. I'm Ken Riehl, CEO of the Cape Ann Chamber of Commerce, and with me today is...
Kerry McKenna, Cape Ann Chamber of Commerce.
And Sara Young from Schooner Adventure and Chamber President this year.
Indeed. Indeed. Welcome back. So let's take a quick look back. October was a huge month for us. And then we can go forward because November is going to be another big month as it seems like there is no lull in the action. There's so much going on. So October, finally, we had good weather.
Great weather.
For a couple of major events, beginning off the first week in October with our rescheduled education fundraiser, which we do that through a golf tournament at Bass Rocks. And I think we were basically at capacity.
We
at
were.
That
we had over 100 players, and we were sold out. We had a beautiful day, a day like we've never had even in May when we usually hold the tournament.
Yeah, I think it was like 75 degrees, and the course was perfect, and everybody was having a good time.
Yeah, it was a great day. Very good.
And that raises funds for scholarships for students, correct?
Actually, so everything that we do in education,
right.
Which is scholarships certainly, but it allows us to do the Career and College Fair. We're going into year 4 in that. It truly is a unique event here on Cape Ann where not only do we bring 75 colleges into Gloucester High Fieldhouse, but we bring the business community in to talk about what do we do in our careers. It funds that. It funds we do a monthly meeting with our Business Education Collaborative. We talk about internships and mentorships. We talk about career days. Basically, how does the business community best engage with our schools? So that is the big fundraiser for that. And then 2 days later was another big event, and that's the big raffle event. $25,000 we gave away.
Not to me.
That was great.
Not to you, right? But we did have the $10,000 winner there.
Yes, he was a resident of Essex, a local guy. Eric Bakri, I believe was his name. And he buys a ticket every year, so that was very exciting. And for the first time in the 4 years that I've been involved with this event, we had the winner in the room, which really made for a neat dynamic for the evening.
Yeah, it can be quite a letdown when you announce the $10,000 winner not there, $5,000 winner not there.
Yeah, and you just have a room full of sad people.
He was, and the way he tells the story, he was sitting at his table and he said, Bill Scott was about to announce the winner, and he said, and its number, and Eric said 304 or whatever his number was. Yeah. And then Bill says 304. Wait, that's you. So he was very happy. Yeah.
So it was Michelle French, the seller on that.
So
Michelle French from Bank Gloucester.
Yeah, she's on our board of directors. She sold the ticket. She was very happy. He's a good friend of hers.
And she was up there among the top sellers.
She was like
right?
the second highest, I believe. So 28 tickets or so. It's quite amazing, actually. Great. So out of 500 tickets, she sold 5% of them, which is incredible. She did a great job.
Yeah, it's a fun night, and another great meal by Lenny at the Gloucester House.
They did a great job.
Really
standing room only again, as those events tend to be. It really is a fun night. And as soon as that last number is drawn, and we do the lucky loser, room clears. Yeah, it's like okay, it's over.
That was great. And then the following week, we were back to Lenny's place, and we had the Businesswomen's Fall Luncheon with Hannah Kimberly, local author. She was great. She was a fantastic speaker.
It's a great event. We had about 100 people, 100 businesswomen in the room. Yeah. I purchased her book, and I'm about halfway through it.
Oh, are you really?
It's fabulous.
I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, it's great.
She actually sold out of the books. They brought over a case of them at the local bookstore downtown. And they sold them all out and took orders.
A Woman's Place is at the top. Is the title.
Yeah,
it's great. Yeah,
that's wonderful. That's a great event.
Yeah, she was a really neat lady too. Hannah herself is a neat woman writing about a very interesting woman.
Our Business Women's Group is so strong, and it's such a great attribute of the Chamber. And frankly, it's largely due to you two.
Well, Kerry, for sure.
Is a main reason for that. Yeah. We can get 100+ business ladies at a luncheon like that. It's really quite amazing, and the social events are quite a lot of fun. As we have one coming up, I think next week, in fact.
That's right.
And there was one not too long ago after the mixer as well.
At the studio.
Was it? Yeah, right. Which was also
looking forward to going to Happy Belly.
Yes, Happy Belly is next week.
With the businesswomen next week.
That'll be a lot of fun.
And then also in October was our tourism wrap-up from the summer season, and we did that we partnered with Discover Gloucester this year, which was quite a lot of fun. We had a great turnout there.
And some interesting numbers.
Yeah, we looked at this season compared to last season, which we haven't done before, and it's still a work in process, but some pretty interesting numbers comparatively. And as you could imagine, really so much of it's driven on the weather as to whether our visitors are going to visit or not. Long term, of course, it doesn't affect long-term planning, but if you're deciding to go to the beach on Saturday and the weather doesn't look very good, you're probably not going to go. So that impacted some of the numbers, but it was interesting. It's pretty good year for a lot of the businesses here on Cape Ann, so that's a good thing. And then after that, we had Cape Ann Plein Air, which was huge. The Cape Ann Community Foundation is the fiscal agent for that event, so I personally am very involved in Cape Ann Plein Air and pleased to be part of the steering committee, which is an incredible group of people. They're passionate, as we've talked about right here in this room at another podcast, and all very talented and just dive right into whatever needs to be done. And that's a year-long planning effort. So Cape Ann Plein Air 2018 kicks off next week with the planning and how we're going to structure it next year compared to what we've done this year.
Well, I was so pleased to hear this year that the sale of art for this event did so well. But just give a really brief overview. It's like 40 artists, national artists that come to Cape Ann and paint all week. Right?
You got it right. So it's a juried competition even to get into the week, and so 180 artists applied and 40 were juried in. So the best from around the country, and we had a gentleman here from British Columbia, which is pretty cool. And they paint all week long. There are kind of artist demonstrations that go along with that. We had the opening reception at North Shore Art, which was great. The big gala sale and celebration was on the Saturday at Rockport Art, which again was very well attended, and that's where we sold quite a bit of art. Yeah. And the following day we had a community event in Essex called a Quick Draw, which was fun, and that was open to the entire community as well as to the national artists. And then even on Monday, we were still selling art at Rockport Art.
And is any of the art still available?
As a matter of fact, it is at the Charles Gallery in Gloucester. So there is still some art around. And
where is Charles Gallery?
It's right on Main Street.
It is, yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Great.
And so that was a main objective this year, was really to try to sell much more art than we had last year, because these artists do this for a living. You know, they love to come here, and the hospitality here is fantastic, and all of the artists were put up at locals' homes, which was incredible. But they need to sell art to cover their costs and to make a living, and so they did this year. They sold quite a bit of art, in addition to the awards that were made, over $20,000 in awards as well, between the gala on Saturday and the quick draw event on Sunday.
Great. You know what I also love about this event? I mean, it's of course helping to have Cape Ann recognized as a place for art and culture, but also for the other businesses in this area. It's extending the season, right? Which I know is a mission of why you chose October for this event.
Right.
And as you said, October this year was spectacular, so there's no reason for people to not continue to come to Cape Ann.
The weather was great for that entire week, really, the whole Cape Ann Plein Air week. Again, it held out. It's really been a very strong October, which made up for some of the kind of shorter sales over the summertime due to some of the weather.
And then we were eating chowder in about 80-degree weather.
The following weekend, which was exactly 180 degrees opposite from last year, where it got to be 1 o'clock and the skies opened up and it poured rain and everybody scattered.
Yeah,
and those of us were left cleaning up just drenched.
It was a far cry from last year. Mother Nature absolutely smiled down on us for this year.
Oh my gosh! Well, we ran out of ballots for the chowder competition. A little after 1 o'clock, right?
Spoons, ballots, you name it. We ran out of beer. We ran out of everything. We ran out of everything that day, but it was great. We figured that we served over 1,400 cups of chowder. Yeah. I mean, 14,000 cups of chowder, which is just incredible.
Wow, that's
just incredible.
Well, and we had more participants than ever. I think there were 12 local restaurants. competing, and I was honored this year to be one of the judges.
Right.
What a great experience that was.
Yep.
Yeah,
It gets kind of tough after like the 8th or 9th cup of chowder. It's like, oh boy, how did this compare to the first cup I tasted?
And then you have to taste them all again.
The pressure's on.
The pressure was on. But I'm sure everyone's dying to know, Carrie, who
So
were
the
the
judges'
winners?
choice, the number 1 was J.T. Farnham, 2 was Lobsterland, and 3 was Windward Grill. And then we had the People's Choice, which there was about 1,100 ballots that were cast for People's Choice. And number 1 was the Windward Grill, number 2 Mile Marker 1, and number 3 Ipswich Clambake. So it was a good showing this year.
That's great. Excellent.
All local favorites.
Yeah.
And the 2 winners were Essex restaurants, which is fantastic.
Yep.
It's really good.
It is.
Yep.
So just a great day. It was really,
It was a very
could not
good
have gone
day.
any better
A lot
for
of
us.
fun. We had live music. We had the canine dogs, the police dogs did a nice little show at the beginning of the event, and I think everybody was happy. A lot of good food.
Great
and,
day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turned out well.
And then the following week, we had a fantastic business after hours,
We
a
did.
networking event at Bank Gloucester. And, Pat, he always puts on a great spread,
Yeah.
and boy, did we have a fantastic turnout.
Yeah.
We did.
We had close to 100 people there. And it was just really interesting to hear what Pat had to say about the bank and the way that, that's changed over the years. And they've got a wonderful following, and they do so much for the community directly in supporting community activities and in supporting us and everything that
Absolutely.
we do for the community. So they're a very strong partner of the Chamber, and I was really happy that event went so well and was so well attended.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, for me, it's, over these last couple of years, those networking events have really grown, and I mean, to be in a room with 100 other business people and being able to truly network and meet a lot of new people, it's great to have so many more businesses engaged, and
It is.
truly is.
It's good.
Kudos to the Chamber and all the work that you guys are doing, and the board, and it was great.
That we are collectively doing.
We are, yeah.
And there were a couple of very important meetings in between there, which do not get nearly the amount of publicity as the events that we do. But another priority of ours, as we talked just a little earlier, is education. And so we have an annual Focus on Education Roundtable where we bring in the state elected leaders, the local elected leaders, the education leaders, so superintendents and principals, and business leaders, and we get around the table at the big boardroom at Gorton's, and we talk about what's happening in education on Cape Ann, what are the issues and what are the opportunities, and how do we collaboratively better work together to progress those opportunities.
Yeah, it was a fabulous forum. Really, a lot of information shared among the people at the table. It's also great this year to have Endicott College and Gordon College represented as well. So I agree with you. That's something that I don't think the community realizes that the Chamber is helping lead.
Invite only, and it doesn't get a lot of publicity, but it's just things that we do behind the scenes.
Very
And
important,
in a similar way, we had a Cape Ann caucus. It's a kind of a similar meeting, not just focused on education. It's really everything about Cape Ann, economically, from the policies, promotion of the region. We talk about everything, and again, it involves our state elected leaders and local, and then we also invited in the public safety officials, and a focus for this particular one, especially with the hurricanes that have so devastated parts of Virgin Islands and elsewhere, was emergency preparedness.
Right.
And what are the plans for Cape Ann?
Yeah.
And we had a great discussion about that. There are plans in place for disasters, which is great to hear. And so we kind of shared those and talked about a number of other opportunities as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not to mention we had a leadership seminar, and we did
That's great. I attended that.
Yeah,
It was fabulous. Yeah.
We did a joint venture with the North Shore Chamber at the Shaolin Loo.
Right, which was also
We
well
had
attended
an
and a lot
online
of fun.
auction that we were selling.
Whew, that was a busy
goods and
month. That was a
services.
busy
That
month.
was all October? That
That
sounds
was
like
all-
a year recap.
That was 1 month.
It was a big month.
You wonder why
It was
we're a
big
little
month.
tired.
Uh-huh.
Let's talk about this month,
What's
starting with
happening?
this week. Of course, today is Halloween.
Yeah.
Carrie, you've got the earrings on to prove that. Very nice. And Sarah, you've dressed
I wore my
in
orange.
pumpkin orange.
I wear the
Very
shirt
nice.
once a year.
I totally missed the memo. But today is Halloween, and tomorrow is an important day here in Gloucester. We're hosting an important forum for our at-large candidates, the councilors at large, and so 7 candidates running for 4 seats, and it's going to be at Gloucester Stage. It starts at 6 o'clock. It'll run an hour and a half. So we have a number of questions that have been prepared that we asked our members to submit what they would like to have the candidates asked, and we'll have a moderator do that and make sure that we progress in a even-handed manner in talking with each of the candidates.
Yeah, that's great. And I know Cape Ann TV will be there recording
Cape Ann
it
TV will be there,
as well.
which is good.
Thank you for that. Thank you to Gloucester Stage for allowing us to use the space as well. It's a good spot for this.
Yeah, and then it's a repeat. The following night we'll be back at Gloucester Stage and have 2 debates planned. One is the Ward 2 debate with Ken Hecht and Joe Gigloni, and then we have the mayoral debate after that. So it starts at 6 o'clock. Ward 2 will go roughly 45 minutes to an hour, and then at 7 o'clock we start the mayoral. And so that's going to be another big night for the city of Gloucester. And it's open to all. There's no charge, and we encourage you to come and hear what these candidates have to say, because ultimately they're going to affect the region in which we live.
Absolutely.
So support the debates.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
and
then-
then next Wednesday is the Happy Belly Businesswomen's Mixer.
Yes.
So that'll be fun. I think there's a lot of people that haven't been there yet, so it's
Yeah.
a nice
Oh, I
opportunity.
have. It's great.
I've been
Yeah.
there as well.
Oh, you
It's
have?
good,
Okay. Yeah.
yes.
Happy Belly, for those that don't know, is the new restaurant on Duncan Street where Alchemy used to be.
Mhm.
So looking forward to having
Yeah,
some
I think it'll
ramen.
be fun.
It'll be
Fun to
good.
check them out, and we have business after hours the following week on Wednesday the 15th at Ocean Optical.
Yeah, I look forward to
Yeah,
going there.
it'll be nice. I think she's got a new doctor in there, and I think they'll be nice to see what they've got going on. Also, the Taste of Cape Ann, not our event, but it's a very important event,
Yeah.
fundraiser for the YMCA, and that's on the 9th at Cruiseport. So that's a shout out to them. If you want to taste some of the best that Cape Ann has to offer, they certainly will be at
Yeah,
Cruiseport
it's
on
a
that
Yeah.
great
night.
event.
And speaking of that, the Open Door has their big food drive in November. I think it's on the 18th, Saturday the 18th. And so
Sounds right,
at the
yeah.
local markets, there'll be opportunities to donate food. So many of us at the Chamber and supporting nonprofits and the business community will definitely be involved in that day. It's a really great event for an incredible organization.
Great. We've got
And then
Thanksgiving and
It's
Small
Thanksgiving and the
Business Saturday.
holidays. Yes.
Small Business Saturday, which
Small-
we have all the small business
Yeah,
paraphernalia
right.
at the Chamber. If any of the local shops are interested in stopping by, pick up bags and banners and all sorts of
So
stuff.
the Chamber
that they send us.
will be a neighborhood champion again, and we do have multiple boxes, Small Business Saturday, and so that's the materials available to any business that would like to help to promote that day. That the message is shop local. That's right, shop local. And so we're all about that, and any way we can promote that, we will. And so we use the MX program to help get that message across, and we'll be visiting many of the retailers in the 4 communities to help to promote that day. And the whole season, we want our locals to shop local all season long. And then part of what we do over the holidays is also to promote local shopping. And so the next week, we go right into all of the holiday events, and literally the Chamber brings Santa to Cape Ann. 3 communities specifically, we are very much involved in Essex, and then in Manchester and Rockport, Santa comes in on our planning, and we're involved in Gloucester as well. We're starting to take more of a position with even the lobster trap tree on Main Street, which
you may not know this, Ken, but the Chamber started that lobster trap.
I actually did know
You
that.
did know
yes. It's coming back. Yes. I mean, what David Brooks has done in picking that up and running with it has been incredible.
It's been incredible.
And Art Haven and helping to support what Art Haven does, and
Yeah.
we have no intent to change that. We want to help to bolster that.
Yeah.
And make it an even bigger and more beneficial event.
Yeah, so that tree is certainly a highlight, I think, for a lot of people now.
Yeah.
What they've been able to do and have that be a fundraiser for them. So it's exciting.
So we have all the dates on our Chamber website, the calendar dates. Have they been uploaded?
We do.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
And that starts like November 30th.
Yeah, well, so actually it starts November 26th is
the
the Gloucester
Gloucester.
tree, Santa
Right,
Parade
right,
and tree
right.
lighting. And then that goes into that week on Thursday night, I think, is the Essex Memory Tree Lighting. And then Friday, we've got the Shop, it's Shop Manchester, right? Yeah, Friday night Shop Manchester
Holiday
Stroll.
Right.
Yep. And then it goes into, that following week, we really get into all the Santa arrivals.
We've got the
Essex
Essex
and
Memory
Rockport.
Tree, and Santa comes in, and it's so interesting and fun as now I need to just basically make sure that Santa arrives in each of the communities. It just arrives in such a different way in each of the 3 communities. I mean, in Essex, he comes in a little skiff, coming up the Essex River, and he's lit with a big spotlight, and it's just so charming to see that. And Manchester, he comes in more like a lobster boat kind of deal. And in Rockport, of course, there are literally thousands of people lining the wharves watching Santa come in. It's really heartwarming. It's a heartwarming time of year. And the Chamber is very involved in that as part of our whole mission to support the community and enhance the quality of life here. And we're pleased to do that.
That's great.
So more to follow on the holiday events in our next session.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to bring up here?
Well, I feel like we can't end the podcast without mentioning the Cape Ann license plate. Were you going to let it go
That
this
is
time?
so appropriate.
I mean, talk about giving back to the community.
You're right. You're right. Thank you for bringing
that up.
up.
I'm being a little bit silly only because we always talk about it, but
Right.
this is because people really need to know what the Cape Ann license plate is, and we've said it a lot, but this is not a fundraiser for the Chamber, and actually the Chamber created the Cape Ann Community Foundation, a separate nonprofit that manages the license plates. And that money, all the money that you spend, so it's $40 for a 2-year registration, and those funds go right back into the community through grants that the foundation gives out. This year, we let our first $12,000, and we had over, I forget 25 applicants. 3 organizations were awarded, Backyard Growers, the Cape Ann Farmers Market, and Action Inc. And so, show your Cape Ann pride. You can go to the URL, I Love Cape Ann.
It's Love Cape Ann.
LoveCapeAnn.com.
And there's a button right there on that website to go straight to the registry. And on the registry, there's about 25 plates. So you've got to scroll through the plate, but you can get there.
Technical difficulties.
I think they're saying, okay.
The podcast is saying,
Time is
okay. Get your Cape Ann license plate.
LoveCapeAnn.com.